Hi everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to talk about Pachelbel Canon. Yes, I can hear some of you groaning. I know. Oh, that's such a boring piece. I hate playing that. All right, well, today, just as a precursor, I'm going to tell you that it probably took me 15 takes to do my introductory 2-minute YouTube video that is before this one. And I'm just not going to be as hard on myself. So this video is going to be more of a conversation and I'm just going to let it go. So anyway, getting back to Pachelbel Canon. Right. You may think it's really boring. It's probably time to change your mindset or change your attitude. We have to remember that this is a piece chosen by the bride, if you're playing this for a wedding. Maybe it's chosen by the bride's mother. Or you could be playing for a funeral. And so in any case, this is an important day for somebody. And we have to just play it as if it really means the world to us too. So just be a really good actor or actress. No pressure, but this could be the first time somebody is hearing classical music live. Or there could be a professional musician at the wedding or at the funeral. Or maybe the person who is deceased is a professional musician. But anyway, I've never had anybody come up to me after a wedding or a funeral and said, boy, you really bombed that Pachelbel Canon. You really should go home and practice. Nobody ever does that. So, no pressure, but just try your best. So here are the challenges that I have come across with Pachelbel Canon. The first challenge is that you may be starting this piece alone. It will depend on your situation. If you are in a wedding situation, it might depend on how long the aisle is or how long you predict the bride will take to get down that aisle. So if the aisle is very short, sometimes you will start with the whole quartet, right? So that they can get to the most recognizable part of the music. But if that aisle is really long and the wedding coordinator wants you to start the piece and then she's gonna fling open the doors and just have it be just like a really formal processional, then you might be starting this alone. So what you need to think about is how fast are you going to start the canon? While we have very slow half notes in the beginning, we need to remember that later on the violins have 16th notes. So if you start this too fast, you will probably get the stink eye from the violins. So right before you are going to start, you should be thinking very quickly in your head about the violin part. Right? So you don't start too fast. So I've just blurred two challenges together. The first challenge is that you might have to start the piece on your own. And the second challenge, which is related, is that you might have to set the tempo, right? Another challenge that could come up is that you might have to cue the ending. So sometimes when we have really long processionals, you might have 8 or 10 bridesmaids and some flower girls and a ring bearer and a dog being pulled in a wagon, which happened last week to me. You might have to be the one looking for that last person in the processional. Sometimes it depends on where you're sitting and how much can you see of the bridal party. So us having the least amount of action in our part, somebody might ask us, hey, can you be the lookout? I need to keep playing my 16th notes. So while you're playing your half notes, you might have to keep a lookout for that last person. And when you see them approaching the altar or the front of the venue, you will need to slow down and cue the ending. You will need to cue quarter notes while you are still playing half notes. So, and it's important that we don't hear those quarter note cues in the actual playing, right? You don't want to do... Make sure that it doesn't affect your bow as you are cueing. Now, this responsibility doesn't always fall on the cellist, right? Sometimes the violinist can just stand up and get a better view. But if that's impossible, it might be your responsibility to cue the ending of Pachelbel. So in my introductory video, I did mention that not a lot of these videos in this channel are going to be geared toward the actual playing and how do you get a beautiful spiccato. I'm talking more about logistics with freelancing, right? But for Pachelbel Canon, it is pretty important that you challenge yourself to play those 8 notes perfectly. Because in the beginning, when I said you might be starting this alone, well, you are the only thing that the whole audience is hearing, right? So you want to challenge yourself to have perfect string crossings, have perfect bow changes, perfect intonation, and boy, watch out for those wolf tones. Really, that might make your decision if you're going to start in 4th position or if you're going to start in 1st position. You will still have to play that low F sharp, but it might sound different with a 4th finger or a 1st finger. It really depends on your cello and on your anatomy. So that's one other challenge to think about. Thanks again for joining me, and I'll see you next time for some tips to help your freelancing skills.